Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmaster and guests, Dale Carnegie once said that for every speech that we give, there's three others. The one we practiced, the one we gave, and then the one we wish we gave. And this is why one Voces Latinas meeting is never enough. Once upon a time, 4 years ago, I was a best man. And this is a speech that probably should practice. And that's what I told myself. And by this time, I had about 1 year experience in Voces Latinas. Now, Voces Latinas taught me that in order to develop a speech, there should be some structure. Opening, main point 1, 2, 3, and a conclusion. Now, it all seemed easy on paper, but actually drafting one, and let alone a best man speech, a speech that was going to be recorded and be probably somewhere in the internet if I made a fool of myself, that this was probably a speech I wanted to practice for. So normally I would call my best friend, James Chung, but he was the one being wedded. So I would think to myself, who do I turn to? The great thing is, Voces Latinas, Toastmasters, and community organizations offer mentors of all calibers. So I reached out to one of my mentors. Hey, Tim, can you help me out with this speech? I'm brainstorming, but I just don't know if this is gonna get the meaning across. Now, Tim was very resourceful. He's had practice with Toastmasters. His feedback, which is another fundamental practice in Toastmasters, his feedback came critical because I noticed myself, I did not notice myself using a lot of fillers. And fillers in Toastmasters, we learned that they can take many forms, as in, so you know, and this is just us trying to stall. But when this is being recorded, I figured, okay, thank you, and I will apply accordingly. Now, for the speeches that we give, probably one of the most memorable had to been at the Castaway in Burbank, where I participated in a table topics competition where not only the world champion of public speaking was present, but you had 200 other Toastmasters present looking at me for 2 minutes to give a table topics. I remember the question, and the question went, as the world champion, what are your next steps? I froze, thinking, okay, silence is golden and silence can buy me some time. 2 seconds turn into 10, 10 seconds turn into 15, and then I opened my mouth. The next words I uttered were about making a climb to Mount Everest. Thinking back now, I was grateful that I said something. Now, I would say it was not my best performance or delivery, but it was one that I was present for. When it comes to table topics, the questions can be about anything. They could be about what you ate last night, what your favorite vacation spot could be, what the favorite course or what your future holds for you, and what you wish to become. When you transfer out of community college, what's next? It's the important questions. What we're gonna eat, what we're gonna do next, and what you're gonna do as champion, who knows? I sure didn't know then, but I was grateful that I said something. And finally, the speeches that we wish we give. Growing up, I was guilty of this one. I was shy. Public speaking was not something I would look forward to. I would do everything I could do to avoid it. If I knew I was going to be up next for a project, I would make sure that my friends had bigger portions of the speaking so that I would just cover the closing. Because by that point, all the attention was on them, and I would just be in the back waiting, building anxiety at the same time, but waiting to just give the closing remarks, which would just be the summary of what just happened. I would go to the bathroom for prolonged periods of time during projects because I knew that going next is much more anxious than giving the presentation. Today I teach on the elevator pitch, which is something that we're all very qualified to do. And we're all very qualified because we have a story. The story of where we've been, where we are, and where we go. I teach it at the professional level where the goal really is to get that next opportunity for a career. So I teach that as an engineer and a realtor, public speaking is essential. For early professionals, this is your first impression into the real world. When you're talking to a recruiter or a hiring manager, it's important that you get your message across, that there's purpose, and that you make it memorable. You have to have the audacity and be audacious enough to take a chance on yourself and deliver. To just utter your first words is probably the most nerve-wracking moment. But I can assure you, after the first moments, you'll be fine. And you can ask yourself, but did you die? So going back to Dale Carnegie, he once said that for every speech that we give, there are three others. The speech that we practice, the speech that we give, and the speech that we wish we give. For this last one, don't let that be you. The opening remarks to tonight's meeting was, hey, the next words that you utter might lead you to a date. A date can lead you to your husband or wife, to your next job opportunity, to the next words that can resonate to a mentor or a mentee. You just never know who is listening, but people do listen, especially when in an age that social media is everywhere. So I urge you, take a chance on yourself and utter the next words. Thank you.